And welcome everybody to the Huddle, KGUN 9's sports streaming talk show. We join you every Tuesday at this time. I'm Jason Barr, joined by Pat Parris. Pat, good afternoon. How are you today?
Pretty good, Jason. Ready to get going here with another busy Tuesday. We got a lot going on, surprisingly, for late August in sports. A lot to talk about.
Yeah, we've actually got a couple of guests today. We've got Kevin Ginkel, pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks, former U of A pitcher. And also we're going to talk to Kevin Guy, co-owner of the Tucson Sugar Skulls, head coach of the Arizona Rattlers. The Sugar Skulls naming their coach today in Curtis Chin. And as we wait for our guest to join us, Pat, I guess we can start on that. And probably not a big surprise. He was the offensive coordinator. They had a terrific offense. Did the Sugar Skulls this year with Daquan Neal, as you see there, the quarterback, and Curtis Chin, the offensive coordinator. And I think, Pat, they wanted somebody also who's going to be here and live here throughout the whole season, all 12 months of the year. Your take on the Sugar Skulls coaching move today, hiring Curtis Chin, promoting him from offensive coordinator to head coach.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. We talked about it a little bit on this show, and you and I've talked about it a couple of times off the air as well, Jason. And that is, Curtis Chin just seemed kind of like a natural fit. Don't forget, he was here early in his coaching career as an offensive coordinator. He went up a
2019.
Yep, and a couple seasons ago, he was up with Kevin Guy and the Rattlers as, I think, quarterbacks and running backs coach. And I looked at that for him when he came back here to become offensive coordinator. I looked at that as probably that's how he's, that seems like a guy who's being kind of groomed, or at least set up to be a head coach somewhere. Didn't know for sure it was going to be here, but thought that it was smart for Curtis Chin to go be under Kevin Guy with the Rattlers for a season, then come back here, be offensive coordinator again. He had Daquan Neal, second best offense in the Indoor Football League this past season. It made a lot of sense that he would get a head coaching job. It opened up here when they decided not to keep Dixie Wooten, and not a surprise. He is a great offensive guy. The players seem to really like him a lot. And as you mentioned, I'm sure that part of the stipulation will be he'll be here in Tucson all year round. And if he checks that box, then I think that's probably why they went with him.
Yeah, Curtis can't join us today. He's actually recruiting for the Sugar Skulls in Miami, but we're going to have Kevin Guy a little bit later as our second guest. But first, we're going to bring in our first guest today, and he is Diamondbacks relief pitcher Kevin Ginkel, former University of Arizona pitcher, now in the Diamondbacks bullpen. Kevin, getting ready for tonight's game in Kansas City. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us for a few minutes as you start your pregame routine. We appreciate it here in Tucson.
No problem. Thanks for having me on, you guys. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm Jason Barr, and joined by Pat Parris here. And Kevin, boy, you had injury at the end of last year, but you come back and you start the season in Reno, and you put up tremendous numbers at AAA this year to start the year. What was working so well for you to do so well and get back up to the big leagues?
A lot of things, actually. I had a lot of downtime with my injury last year to just kind of work on some things, and I had a lot of people help me get to where I am today, so I got to thank them first off. But most importantly, I think it was just kind of going back to the fundamentals, especially on the pitching side. I think for me, I've got good stuff. I've got a hard fastball and a heavy slider that both do different things, and so I think it's just kind of looking at it in hindsight 2020 and just saying, like, all right, what can I do to be more consistent in the strike zone? And I think going to Reno to start the year was something that, I think as a lot of pitchers kind of, are a little afraid, I guess. But for me, I was like, I know I've pitched well there before, and so why can't I do it again? And it just kind of put me back on the D-backs radar to get called up. And I'm here now, and I'm looking to help contribute moving forward. So it's been a long process, but I'm thankful, and everything I've done is earned. So yeah.
Kevin Ginkel is our guest, the Diamondbacks relief pitcher. Right over your shoulder is Nolan Ryan, by the way, an old photo of Nolan Ryan. That maybe that will encourage you to strike out even more guys. Your strikeout rate in Reno, 36.6%. You are a high strikeout guy. Obviously, that's something, I don't give me the mindset. Is that what you're looking for? or, you know, they always say you can't strike out a guy on the first or second pitch, but what are you looking for when you're out there, because strikeouts do come?
Right. I think you got to be a little more opportunistic. There's certain guys that I know that I face that I got to be a little more careful with. And so getting ahead is super important. And especially as a reliever, our job is to come in and maybe clean up an inning. You know, you got runners on base, so you kind of have to manage that, or even coming into a fresh inning. So for me, I think knowing the hitters that you're going to face, and being as aggressive as you can, but at the same time, know if I get to 2 strikes, they might not be able to chase. They're going to work the count. They're going to have it go, you know, for as long as possible. And so it's my responsibility to make pitches look like strikes, but maybe end up as balls, or, you know, I'm just going to go right after them and I'm going to try and see if they can get themselves out. So I think we play Kansas City this series and we play Chicago. And, you know, I think with Kansas City, they're a team that likes to scrap. They like to run, and they don't like to strike out very much. So for me, my job is, I feel like, pretty simple. And all right, knowing who the guys that, you know, don't strike out very much are, but also being aggressive and, you know, doing my job and hopefully having themselves get themselves out. So that's kind of my mindset this series.
And Kevin Ginkel was part of the 2016 University of Arizona team that made it all the way to the College World Series finals. During that year, there was one game in which you had a perfect game after 6 innings against the Sun Devils, and I believe it was a 2-hit shutout. Your stuff was electric that night. Do you remember that game? And if so, what do you remember about that night when ASU couldn't touch you up in Tempe?
Yeah, taking a little trip down memory lane here. Yeah, I remember that outing really well. I think that kind of helped put me back, you know, on the radar to hopefully get an opportunity to play ball professionally. And I had a conversation with Jay Johnson a few days prior saying, you know, I'd love to get an opportunity to start. And he gave me the ball that game, and you know, the rest was history, really. But yeah, that was a really cool moment and something I'm really proud of that I was able to experience. And, you know, I think I caught the Sun Devils a little off balance. I don't think they were expecting that out of me. But it was a really cool game. And, you know, I've got buddies that went to Arizona State that always talk to me about it. And they're like, hey, take it easy on our Sun Devils. I said, I'm not going to do that.
No.
So that was something that was really cool, and I'll always remember.
Yeah, never take it easy on the Sun Devils as a Wildcat, that's for sure. Speaking of the Wildcats, you know, you're in a couple of different fraternities. Let's say you're in that rare fraternity of Major League Baseball players, but that subset of Arizona Wildcats in the majors. There have now been 33 Wildcats make the big leagues since just 2009. That says a lot about where this program has been over the last, you know, decade and a half.
Yeah, it's exciting. And, you know, I think there's been a couple new guys that debuted this year as well. And so it's pretty incredible, this program, and how quickly it's really taken off. I haven't had the chance to meet Chip Hale, but I know he's a good ambassador for that program, and he's well regarded. So I think we're going in a great direction. And, you know, our past and our history kind of speak for itself. And so I've been in touch with a lot of guys that have come through that program that were there before me, and then guys I've played with. And so it's cool to see fellow Wildcats get up here and get to the big leagues. And, you know, you kind of always remember who's who and see who comes up, but it's a cool thing to see.
Yeah, I think hopefully you'll get a chance to meet him on September 14th. That's going to be U of A night at Chase Field. They do that every year. Not just you, but Mark Melanson, certainly from Arizona Wildcats and the Arizona Diamondback bullpen. All right, Kevin, you left tickets for the Alice Cooper Solid Rock Teen Center and have also donated guitars for Strikeouts last year. How did that connection come about, and is guitars one of your passions?
So I had a really close, longtime friend of mine who I've kind of gotten the chance to know with, not just as a friend, but someone off the field business-wise that I've respected a lot, and I, you know, take his advice on a lot of things. But the Alice Cooper initiative was something that I wanted to do, not just to kind of like, you know, help kids, but to also like give them, some power, I guess. I feel like the Alice Cooper Teen Centers that are in Phoenix were something that, when I got the chance to talk to Alice, was something that he said, I'm trying to get kids off the street. I'm trying to get kids in a good environment that are either wanting to pursue their music career or their, learn more about music or, find things in art. And so to answer your question, I don't have any musical background, but this initiative was something that I wanted to do because I feel like in Phoenix, as athletes, we got to do a better job. I feel like, helping connect with kids, and, just kind of being a better influence, I guess. And so, yeah, every strikeout I got at Chase Field last year, I donated a guitar. And the Alice Cooper Teen Centers were thrilled about it. And so I know, I've got a good relationship with those people there still. And I had a couple conversations with Alice throughout last year. And so this was something that I wanted to do, and I had a lot of passion and pride for because I've lived in Arizona now for the past few years, and it's cool to see, these kind of, communities, I guess, come together, and, having kids have an outlet after school is something that's really important. So I took a lot of pride in that last year.
Yeah, well, Kevin, you're to be commended. Kevin Ginkel is our guest, former Arizona Wildcat, current Arizona Diamondback relief pitcher. Back to this team now. It is a young team. You guys have played well in stretches. Still waiting for, maybe things to click this year and look forward to the future. Are you looking forward to the future of being part of this team that, has some great talent in the minors that I'm sure you've seen as well?
It's really cool. I think the team I played with in Reno has a lot of talent, and I think the future is bright. And it's so difficult sometimes when you hear about prospects, because when you come up here, it can be a totally different situation. But I really feel that we have the right people here in the big leagues, and then down there that are on their way to coming up. So I've helped a lot of young guys down there, and I'm sure when we have some guys come up here that are going to help this team win, we're going to be putting ourselves in a great position moving forward. I feel like, yeah, we've had some tough games when I've been up here, but I think if we finish the year strong, we're going to look forward to 2023 and surprise some people. So just taking it one game at a time right now, but I like where we're going, and we just got to kind of stay on the road and stay focused. So.
All right. Well, we got to leave it there. Kevin Ginkel, thank you so much for a few minutes here before your game tonight at Kansas City. We wish you the best of luck the rest of the year, and hope to see you on the 14th at the U of A night at Chase Field.
Yeah. Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Kevin Ginkel, the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are at Kansas City tonight, and we're joined by our second guest for the Huddle for this episode, and we go from one Kevin to another. He is Arizona Rattlers head coach Kevin Guy, also a part owner of the Sugar Skulls. He and his wife Kathy Guy, who owns the Sugar Skulls. In the news today, Tucson making a coaching change. Curtis Chin takes over for Dixie Wooten, who was let go last week. Kevin, of course, Pat Parris and Jason Barr here in Tucson for K-Gun 9. Thanks a minute for joining us today.
You bet. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. First question, obviously, why Curtis, and what does he bring to the team?
Well, that's a great question. I think that Kathy has done an exceptional job of going through all the interviews. I recused myself this year, and she came and bounced some asked my opinion, bounced some things off of me. But she went through the process, and that's the direction that we've been heading in. But, I think Curtis has an exceptional offensive mind for this game. He's a very good recruiter. And I know one of the things that when Kathy sat down and I asked her, hey, what's important to you? That she said, hey, I want a head coach that's here year round. I want a coach that's going to live in Tucson year round. Our two previous coaches were only there for the season, and then after the season, they would go back to their homes. But I think Kathy understands now that it's about the community. We need someone that's going to be a part of the community on a year round basis. and also being productive on the field.
Kevin, you talk about that, about being a part of the community. You, of course, have been a part of the Phoenix community for a long time, and even now here in Southern Arizona because of your connection with the Sugar Skulls. What is it about being that ambassador or that face of the franchise all year round that was so important to you and Kathy?
Well, the team's a community team, and it's about building relationships, and it's about getting out and building these relationships and helping young people grow. Those are the grassroots of our fan base, and I think that's important. And Hurtis is very good about giving back to the kids in the community, the schools, and any other charities that he's a part of. So I think it's a great choice. Hurtis was there the first year when we started the team, and if the listeners out there don't understand the story, I kind of used my success here in Phoenix and building my brand to kind of help kick off the Tucson Sugar Skulls. But that, my wife was going to run that team, and she's a perfect fit. She's a great female leader. She's ex-military. She's Hispanic. She's great for that market, and we wanted to help the league grow. I mean, that's really the story behind it. We wanted to help the league grow, and we love Tucson. I mean, we love going down there. If I had a choice, if I could get my 15-year-old son, to move, we would already be living in Tucson. We love it down there. But Hurtis was there that first year, and we really liked him as an expansion team. He had the number 4 scoring offense in the league. Then COVID happened that next year. Hurtis was out there, didn't have a job, so we brought him in here to the Rattlers, and he did an exceptional job for me here. Was our quarterback coach, our receivers coach, and our quarterback that year was the MVP of the league, and he did an outstanding job working with him. And then, Dixie Wooten was looking for an offensive coordinator. They had a previous relationship when they worked together in Iowa, and so Hurtis went back to Tucson for his second stint there, and had the number 2 scoring offense. And his quarterback, DeQuan Neal, and both times he was there, he had 2 different quarterbacks, but DeQuan Neal had an MVP type season. He didn't win it. It went to Drew Powell, but his numbers were just as good as Drew's. And Mike Jones had an exceptional year this year, scored about 37 touchdowns. So I think Hurtis has got a great mind for this game, and he's going to be a great fit. And I think the other thing that Kathy talked to him about, and Kathy's a competitor. She's married to me, so there's no, she has to be, right? So, but she wants that defense fixed. We did not play well on defense last year, even though we made it to the playoffs. And I don't want to take anything away from the players and the coaching staff. They had a successful season, but I felt like offensively we could compete for a championship, but defensively we just weren't good enough to take that next step. And that's something that I know Coach Jen is going to want to fix right away.
Kevin, we're joined by Kevin Guy, Arizona Rattlers head coach. Kevin, why do you think Dixie didn't win more games here? I mean, he was brought in with a lot of fanfare, given a multi-year contract, a situation where he actually beat you a couple times when he was head coach of Iowa. He wins an Indoor Football League championship with Iowa and comes here, but had two not so spectacular years. Why do you think the Sugar Skulls didn't win more games the last couple of years with him as head coach?
I don't know. I mean, I will say that I thought Coach Wooten got better from the first year to the second year. And, we had him on a 3-year contract, if I remember right. The COVID year was one of those years, right? But then they came out of COVID. I don't think when you look that, I think that first year he tried to take on too much himself, and didn't have necessarily the help around him that he needed to be successful. And then the second year he went out and hired Coach Chen. But I think from an organizational standpoint, we feel like that Tucson is one of the top places the players want to go. And when if you look at the players that came to Tucson and played, a lot of them have decided to stay and live in Tucson. So I think it's a place that the players want to be. And and I can't put a finger on it. And I'm sure that in the end, that's why there was a decision made. But, knowing Kathy, she wants to be, as successful as we are here at the Rattlers. There's a little bit of difference where we've been in business for 30 years, and Sugar Skull's been in for 3. You still got to build it. We understand that, but I also think with the landscape of the league changing, and the owners really want parity in the league, and I think that was what the biggest thing that maybe got caught up with Coach Wooten is there's been some organizations that made the right adjustments, and then some that did not. And with the rules being changed, you look and Coach Wooten wasn't the only one as a coach that's been affected by that, but there's been some other great coaches in this league that their wins have dropped off since the rules have changed. And quite frankly, I think the Arizona Rattlers have done probably the best job of adjusting to the league and the rules, with the owners changing that they want parity. And so, this game is always changing. It's always evolving. And, but we got a lot of respect for Coach Wooten. I know he's going to bounce back. He's going to get a job in this league, and we'll see him again. And I'm sure he's going to be competing against us. So, but I think the biggest thing, it's not just affected Coach Wooten. It's affected us here at the Rattlers. It's affected, we haven't won a championship here in 5 years. And that's, in my era, that's the longest it's ever been. And other coaches in the league too. So everybody's adjusting to it. And some are just adjusting better than others.
Yeah, and along those same lines, Kevin, you look at your champion this year, Northern Arizona Wranglers, who are what, second-year team, and they were let's be honest, they were terrible in their first season. They turned it around quickly. They knocked off the Sugar Skulls, and they knocked your Rattlers off, and go on and win the championship. So I guess maybe that gives people hope that this can be turned around fairly quickly, right?
Yeah, and I don't think Tucson's that far off. I mean, they were the 3rd seed in the playoffs this past year in the Western, Conference. I mean, it's just a matter of if we can duplicate what was done on offense and then, get the defense corrected. I think they're on the right path. If you look at Naz, Rod Windsor and Curtis Chin was on our staff last year in 2021 here at the Rattlers. Rod Windsor goes to be the offensive coordinator in Naz. Curtis Chin goes to be the offensive coordinator in Tucson. And both of them had exceptional years, and they both, installed a lot of what the Rattlers do on offense. And I just think that, again, we're back to the parity. But if you look, all 3 Arizona teams made the playoffs, and they were all running Rattlers offense. So obviously the offense works, right? So now it's a matter of making the adjustment to get it fixed on defense.
All right, Kevin Guy, thank you so much. We have to leave it there, but thanks for giving us some color on the coaching change and everything what's going on in the Indoor Football League, and we appreciate it. And we hope for Tucson fans that Curtis comes in and does a great job. I'm sure he will. So thanks for a couple of minutes here on the Huddle with me and Pat.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, Pat, what I'm taking away number one from that interview, you talked about it a couple of times, parity. The league and the owners don't want 1 or 2 teams just running away with it.
That's right.
And look, I mean, you and I both covered a little auto racing. The fast cars have to have the slow cars to pass, but you can't just have, a couple of good teams here, beating up on San Diego, because the San Diego team won't be sustainable and they won't be able to last. So I didn't realize that. I mean, that's a healthy thing for the league, but at the same time, it makes it a little harder for Kevin Guy and for Dixie Wooten and some of the teams that have dominated in the past.
And it's not lost on me. I made that comment a couple of weeks ago as this all was unfolding with the Sugar Skulls. Kevin Guy hasn't won a championship in 5 years. So, they've been the best team regular season wise by far over those last 5 years. But getting that championship is no easy task. And for what Northern Arizona, the Wranglers, did this year, to go from terrible expansion team last year, to champions of the league and a very good team, it's pretty impressive. And to beat both the Sugar Skulls and the Rattlers on the way to that championship makes it even more impressive.
All right, let's finish up with a couple of quick notes here. I thought for fun, Pat, we would look at the Heisman Trophy odds going into the season. Now, listen, there's various sports books. We're sponsored by Desert Diamond Casino, so this is constantly changing. But you see C.J. Stroud, the Ohio State quarterback, is the favorite, and Bryce Young, who won it last year with Alabama. But if you look there, 5th on the list, Bijan Robinson, the former South Point star here in Tucson. So what does that mean? You bet 100 to win 2,000. I think that's a decent shot on Bijan Robinson.
Why not?
If he stays healthy.
And here's the thing about Bijan Robinson. Those of us who've been fortunate enough to see him play in person know what a beast he is. Like what
Texas running back. I should have said Texas.
Yeah,
running back.
Texas running back.
Yep.
But what we saw him at South Point Catholic, and then we've seen him and when he's been healthy at Texas, he's been outstanding. The problem is, Jason, he plays at Texas, and if he were in the Ohio State backfield, he'd probably be on top of that list, or at least 1-2 with the quarterback. Maybe they'd split votes, but you get my point.
Sure.
While Texas is a national power or a national prominence of some sort, it's not Ohio State, it's not Alabama, it's not Clemson. That's part of the problem that Bijan Robinson is going to have and it's unfortunate, but that's the school he chose, and he'll go there and he'll do well. And we all expect him to not only have a great collegiate season, I think he'll be in the NFL someday, and I think we'll notice him in the NFL someday.
Well, he'll probably leave a year early, which is too bad, because I'd love to see him with Arch Manning next year, right? Isn't Arch Manning?
That would be fun, right?
That'd be
Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah. And lastly, before we sign off here, our digital special, previewing the University of Arizona football team. It dropped at 8:30 this morning. You can watch it on our OTT channel at the bottom of every hour for a half hour. And also just go to kgun9.com and I believe click on sports and you can watch it. I did a story on Jaden Delora, the quarterback, Tedero McMillan, the wide receiver. Pat's got something on all the conference situation, and as well as John Button Salmon. So we invite everybody to watch our OTT special previewing the University of Arizona football season. And we're going to do a lot more with the University of Arizona football next Tuesday at this time, which will be game week next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that already. Yeah.
All right, terrific. All right, well, for Pat Parris, I'm Jason Barr. First ever huddle with 2 guests, so we hope you enjoyed it. A couple of Kevins joined us. Thanks to Kevin Ginkel and Kevin Guy for being our guests this half hour here on the Huddle on KGUN9's streaming platforms. For Pat, I'm Jason. We'll see you right back here next Tuesday at this time. Have a good day, everybody.